Okay. Let me just share this really quick on the Twitter page really quick.
Hopefully, he gets the notification that we're live and just goes, "Holy shit! I need to do that."
No, I mean we've tagged him in hell of shit already, so I don't know. He's probably busy or something. Something probably came up.
Takes him 600 years to respond to a text message. Make sure to remember that.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, let's see what's going on in 2025. You have Gunther beating up announcers to get world title shots, and you have Blood taking forever to get into the freaking thing.
Well, he did say when it comes to DMs, he doesn't really look at them that often anymore because at this point he's just getting that blown up. So,
All right, let's get started, y'all. What's happening, everybody? Welcome back again. We're gonna be doing Backlash reviews tonight because better late than never. We haven't had the time to talk about Backlash that much since the show happened on Saturday. So that's what we're gonna be doing tonight here at the Snug Wrestling Podcast. What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
You doing good?
damn good, those. Yeet.
No yeet. Team no yeet.
There
Oliver
he
finally decided
fucking
to show up.
is.
Hey guys, I completely forgot. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I hate you.
forgot we were doing this. I'm so sorry about that. What I missed.
This was your idea. We already did the whole show.
Fuck you. I know that's bullshit. You sent me the link 28 minutes ago.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
literally just did the intro. That's it.
That's it. I haven't missed a match.
That's
No.
literally it. We just
Okay,
started.
thank you. Again, really sorry. Got away from me. Was watching Mickey Mouse cartoons with my wife.
Oh, that's adorable.
No, don't do that, BT. No, don't
She lo-
encourage this asshole.
Hey. Like I told you before, Snug, my mother still watches fucking Toy Story. I can celebrate a man watching cartoons. Like,
Bruh.
come on.
Mickey and Minnie Mouse is like
Don't
one of my
you
wife's
bruh
favorite
me.
things ever.
Bruh.
So,
Don't
Mickey
you
and Minnie Mouse
fucking-
were my wife's favorite things ever. So I started because she always watches stuff that I want to watch. I decided to find something that she likes we can watch together. And they had the new Mickey Mouse shorts that came out several years ago. It's like Mickey Mouse on crack or from Flapjack, but they're hilarious and they're adorable. So.
How dare you spend time with your wife over us, first of all? Unacceptable.
Oh.
I know. Ugh.
Jay, just let the man let out his inner child for a bit, okay?
How about
Just
how about
let
we all
him-
shut up and
let
talk
him-
about
Look
some
behind
wrestling?
me, inner child, pretty well let out.
How about we all shut up and talk about some wrestling?
Yeah, wrestling.
All right, we got some comments already. AR15 says, "Evening, fellas," and Ashton Gager says, "Yeet." Ugh. Bah. Puh.
I didn't know Ashton Gager was a gentleman, a man of taste.
Get him the dictionary. Get him the
You want me to pull that
dictionary.
dictionary out of you, Toxic?
Get him the dictionary.
I don't got one on me.
All right. The first match we're going to get into, we're going to go in order here, you guys. We're going to start off with the Fatal 4-Way match. Jacob Fatu, he retained, and Jeff Cobb finally showed up and made his WWE debut after assisting Jacob Fatu. To the surprise of Jacob Fatu, he seemed really thrown off by this. Jacob Fatu seemed confused. He didn't know what the fuck was going on. But it looks like this was Solo Sikoa's call. The tribal chief, Solo Sikoa, the real tribal chief, brought in Jeff Cobb. And things are going to get interesting here in this United States title picture, I think. But overall, thoughts on this, Mr. Blood? Even though you were late, like 30 minutes, go ahead, get us started.
That long 30 minutes, y'all were doing nothing. So other than that, I thought the match was great. I remember, one of your biggest problems with this match was you Snug specifically, was that you were kind of getting burnt out on the multi-man matches. You were kind of tired of seeing them. You feel like you'd already seen these before. And my rebuttal to that was, Well, the great thing about a multi-man match is that you can run it so many different ways. And I thought they did a really great job here. It felt very different from Mania. Um, they tried some new spots. I thought they were giving LA Knight a lot in this match, which I thought was great. So he doesn't feel like the afterthought of the group of four. I thought Damian kind of squaring up. I thought everything about this was really, really fun. Everybody gets a moment to shine here. Um, and the minute of the match, specifically Jacob, the crowd's on fire for him, right? I mean, he's over like Rover, man. They're popping for him left and right. I mean, the dude just turns his head and looks at the crowd. They go ape shit. I thought it was very, very fun, very well booked. The right guy won, still retained. And if you remember, I actually had said that I have a feeling Solo's interfering. I did say that it was going to go one of two ways. I said either Solo was going to interfere and betray Jacob, or Solo was going to introduce a new member, someone we haven't seen before. I felt like maybe he was going to reintroduce Bronson Reed specifically, is who I thought he might bring back from injury, since we haven't seen him since War Games. Or I thought Tonga Loa would make a return, because now we know that Tama Tonga's out with an injury as well. Yeah, he injured, I think, his wrist or his hand. But as far as it's concerned, Jeff Cobb was an interesting choice. We knew that he had been signed for a bit now. We were all wondering what that was going to mean. Now, Cobb, here's the interesting thing about Cobb specifically. Cobb is not Polynesian. Cobb is Filipino. So here's the weird thing about this. Is Jacob angry that Solo brought a guy in who's not family, that he's not a Samoan, he's not of Tongan blood, he's not of Maori blood, he's not of any of these bloods. He's in fact not even Polynesian. He is Filipino. And I guess the one argument that you could make in Solo's defense is, well, hey, Roman can bring in Sammy, I can't bring in Jeff Cobb kind of thing. So I think he's going to be the nega Sammy, like the opposite Sammy, where he's going to be the honorary Uce, but on Solo's behalf. So I think the main reason, to wrap this up, the main reason Jacob was probably angry is either one, Jeff Cobb's an outsider. And we know this from Jacob's presentation already. He's all about the tradition, and he's all about that vindication. Or two, Jeff Cobb coming in and them helping Jacob win. Jacob, remember, he doesn't like help. He doesn't like cheating. Jacob says, I'm going to do it with you or without you. And I've been doing it without you. So now he's like, don't start helping me now. So I think that this is going to be interesting. There's going to be some headbutting here. Solo said he's running out of soldiers. And so he went and got Jacob Fatu. Or not Jacob Fatu, but Jeff Cobb. So I think let's see where this goes. But all in all, great match. Correct guy won. Gave it a lot of time to shine. Everybody got their moments. And new introduction of a brand new guy to the story. So let's wait and see.
Yeah, I agree. I really like this match. Everyone got a lot of time to shine. I feel like just Drew got less. Out of the four, Drew got a little bit less, but he still got a moment to shine, which I'm glad. In my opinion, he's not that interesting on a weekly basis. Also, I'm pretty sure Drew got injured whenever Priest did that South of Heaven off of the crates and onto a table, because Drew was seen reaching for his head in pain. So, yeah, if he is injured, get well soon, Drew. But Jeff Cobb, not expecting that whatsoever. No one was. Well, except for Blood, because I called it. Anyways, I think Jacob didn't like the fact that Jeff Cobb was there, because they have had a lot of beef before Jacob was even in WWE. And Jacob's Indie days, I want to say. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm interested to see where this leads to.
So I myself was a little bit confused on the Jeff Cobb thing. It's like, I get it, he was signed, all of that, but Zilla's right there. He's literally right there. He's been saying this entire time that he wants to join this storyline. He's in the family already. He's right there. Why the hell didn't you just take that spot? But I will agree, the right man won. The correct man won. This was one of the ones that, didn't we all agree that it was going to end up being Jacob, if I'm correct? It's like this was one of the ones where we were unanimous on it. There was no possible way that they weren't taking it off of Jacob, especially with how hot he is right now. There was just no way. But with Jacob, the question is, who's next? And if you're going with one of these three, which one do you even choose out of the three of them? Knight has had two different reigns. So I would think that he's kind of out of it if I had to choose between the three. Doesn't Drew only need the United States, if I'm correct?
Yeah, Drew only needs the United States.
So it would be interesting to see what in the world it would look like if Drew had a United States title reign. It's the only one he needs. I have the same thoughts when it comes to Sheamus with the Intercontinental. They only need one. Give it to him at some point.
Tommy, to really quickly answer your question as to why not Zilla. Specifically, it's because Zilla had already touted when they signed him. He was on an interview stating that he was calling Solo a basically a Timu Umaga. Who do you think you are, ripping off my dad's moves, this, that, and the third. So he said, like, if he got involved in the storyline, it's because he would want to join Roman's side against Solo. So if you say that publicly, now WWE can't backtrack over you because he said that as soon as they signed him. It was the first thing he said in an interview the week they signed him. So that's why.
Yeah, also Zilla is a champion in whatever promotion he's in.
So was Omos while he was signed with WWE. He was a tag team champion while being signed.
Yeah, usually when someone is like a champion in another company and they get signed by WWE, they lose the title right away. Like, but yeah, BT, what do you think?
By the way, Omos had dropped the fucking I think it was either tag title or whatever title he was holding on to because he said he was going to join the Royal Rumble. What the fuck happened there? Legit cut a fucking promo saying that he was going to join the Royal Rumble. Never fucking showed up. But I digress. The Fatal 4-Way match I really enjoyed. And the people who say that LA Knight can't wrestle, you're talking out of your ass. Look at the work rate that he put in that match. Look at the work rate that he's put over the past couple of years. His first US title run. So much fun. Hard-working. I'm still pissed off that they gave it to Shinsuke. I will never get over that. And like I said last time when we were on here, they didn't even want to give him a second chance with the US title. With his second US title run. Because the titles can only be relevant when there's a bloodline member involved. Isn't that right, Toxic? You were the one that said that. But anyway, the Fatal 4-Way match was brilliant. Jeff Cobb, don't even know who he is. So I'm still interested in what happens in that department, but all I knew was that Fatu and Cobb have a bit of history together, and I think they can capitalize on that. So I'm very excited to see what happens there. Yeah, I enjoyed the Fatal 4-Way match. I think it was the best match of the night. Point blank, period.
Shout out to Maria. She says, off topic, but do y'all think this will be the road towards Solo versus Jacob? That's not really off topic. That's exactly what we're talking about, Maria. Thank you for your question. I think so. I think this is definitely,
yes.
Yeah, for sure. But just really quick, to go back to what Tommy was saying, why not Zilla and why Jeff Cobb? And for the people that aren't familiar with Jeff Cobb, I think you guys are in for a treat. I mean, the last few guys that the WWE has signed, it hasn't been for no reason. These guys are good. Jeff Cobb is good. He's actually really fucking good.
You know, I bet that you guys have actually seen him without knowing you've seen him. BT, you watch Dub and Ross, right? You watch in the Clutch ENT like I do, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I've been watching them religiously for years, and I always watch their wrestling reacts videos every time they come out. There are a lot of footage in those video clips of these two really, really, really big guys, specifically like Keith Lee and this really big, heavy-set Bronson Reed body-styled guy in like a blue singlet and boots, longer black hair, and they're throwing each other around, massive power bombs, flips, backflips. That's Jeff Cobb.
Okay.
In those video clips, you go back, that's Jeff Cobb on the indie circuit when he was coming up. If you've ever watched his videos, he's in nearly every one of the earlier sets of those like first 50, 60 videos of clips. And if you've watched them react, you've definitely seen them. But Snug is right. Snug's 100% right. Jeff Cobb, originally people don't realize this. If you're new to him, he had recently touted he was retiring from wrestling not too long ago. That's why this is such a surprise. But he is a whirlwind of talent for a guy his size. I don't know about you, Snug, but I'm extremely excited. I'm hoping one day we're going to get to see Bronson Reed versus Jeff Cobb.
I want to see Jacob Fatu versus Jeff Cobb in the WWE ring. I know they've wrestled in the past in the indies and stuff, but yeah, I'm definitely excited for this. I've seen Jeff Cobb in AEW, but they didn't really use him a whole lot there. But he's wrestled everywhere, man. Every company you can think of, from MLW, Lucha Underground. I want to say maybe even the NWA. I'm not too sure, but this guy's a veteran. He's in his 40s. He knows what he's doing. And
with how shocked he was when he came out, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're already starting to lead to.
I don't think they'll get into like their history that they have with Jacob Fatu.
They're going to slow burn it.
Well, also WWE is not really that big into shining light into anything that has nothing to do with WWE.
By them.
Yeah. So I think
the smart fans know.
The smart fans know, but I think they're gonna, whatever they do, I think it's gonna be interesting. Blood, I'm starting to lean more towards what you were saying, how he's gonna be like the honorary member. Although, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't address the fact that he's not Samoan, because, I mean, are they still even doing that whole bloodline thing? I don't even think.
They're still calling this group the Bloodline on TV.
I haven't heard them be called the Bloodline on TV in months.
I feel like they've mentioned Solo and his crew, the Bloodline, or like they're calling them something still, because they already stated that Roman's bloodline was disbanded. They said that a couple weeks ago at the last PLE, and we were all shocked. I was like, remember when I said, this is how we find out the OG bloodline's no more? Just a quick one-liner on commentary, kind of thing. So
pretty sure they're not mentioning that anymore. So I think this goes deeper than that. This goes deeper into Solo just going behind Jacob's back and just doing shady shit that Jacob isn't approving. But definitely interesting.
We'll have to see, but I think SmackDown's finally going to get another interesting story because I think we can all agree anything involving Solo and the Tongans has been if it's not Jacob Fatu.
SmackDown is definitely going to be changing
yes.
with all of this, and also next month it's supposed to be going back to 2 hours too. By the way, guys.
Yes, thank freaking God. Yeah. So I think the only thing that sucks here is that remember originally they were afraid of pushing Jacob early and introducing Jacob early because they thought he was going to outshine Solo. Remember, that was the initial fear. That's why they held off on debuting him for so long. Even though he'd been with the company for like 4 months, already signed. They held off because they didn't want him to overshadow Solo going into his bout with Roman. And then they finally said, fuck it, let's pull the trigger. We'll do it. We'll see what happens. And lo and behold, Jacob outshined Solo in relatively about a week and a half. So you got to wonder, is adding Jeff Cobb helping Solo at all? Because it looks to me like now that Tonga Loa's out on injury, freaking Tama Tonga's out on injury, looking like he's going to have to get hand surgery. We're literally like at the point where it's like, is Solo the weakest link in his own group that he's the head of? And I don't know if that helps Solo's presentation.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't think so.
Boring for a while as of recently. Like, as I've said in the past, Jacob is kind of carrying this bloodline. He has for a while now.
Not kind of. The man is.
All right, y'all. Let's move on. We'll see what happens with the United States title picture. I guess I was talking about this match earlier, and I begged this question, so I'm gonna ask you guys the same question. So we kind of know what's happening with Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. It looks like they're gonna continue their feud. We see Jacob Fatu, and what he might be getting involved with this whole Jeff Cobb thing. What happens with LA Knight?
I think you're going to have to move him into the Money in the Bank picture or something. Because in my head, I think the only people that makes, like, Money in the Bank's going to have 6 to 8 people, depending, because they changed on here. We're going to have an 8-man ladder match, or a 6-man ladder match. But I think that people who absolutely, like, unequivocally have to be in that match, like, Sami Zayn needs to be in it. LA Knight needs to be in it. Braun Breaker needs to be in it. Like, there are guys you can pick out. Drew was in it last year. Damian's already won it. They don't need to get in it. Like, you can put Solo in it. Like, there are guys that, for storyline purposes, that if those individuals were in it and won, it would have a massive impact on what the end of this year could look like title picture-wise. And remember I said that whomever wins Money in the Bank, I have a pit in my stomach that they are cashing in on the winner between Jay and Gunther. And I've got this weird feeling. LA Knight's in the Money in the Bank. He's not winning it, though, but he's in it. I think what's next for him is the build to Money in the Bank. But the bigger story for me personally is I think either Braun Breaker or Seth is going to weasel their way into that match. And I think one of them is taking that briefcase. And I think one of them is cashing in on Gunther or Jay. I think Punk needs to be in it too. But I think that's what's next for LA. It's just a quick build to him being in the Money in the Bank match. Then we're going to have to see where we go from there with him after that. But I would love to see him back in the world title picture. They've already laid the foundation. I think the biggest thing LA's going to have this year is a feud with John Cena, because they already laid the foundation for him and John 2 years ago when they were tagging together, helping each other out. But now that, John's given LA that rub, we need that one-on-one. And I think eventually we're going to get there by the end of the year, that one-on-one match that they kind of teased 2 years ago. I think LA's not winning Money in the Bank, but I don't think he needs to win Money in the Bank. I think he's going to get a massive spotlight shined on him in a feud with Cena heading towards the end of this year. So I think that's really what the penultimate thing next for LA Knight is, that's going to really put a spotlight back on him.
Anything else you guys want to add, BT, Tommy, Toxic, before we move on to the next match?
I I just don't see, and this is kind of off topic. I just don't see anyone cashing in on Jay. I could see the winner of the men's Money in the Bank briefcase cashing in on Cena, which it would be. Actually, I don't know, but I think that LA would definitely have to go after Cena, because if he's not gonna continue with the United States title picture and Damian and Drew are continuing their story, then why not give LA Knight kind of a world title push, if you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. I would much rather see the winner of the Money in the Bank try to cash in on Cena than Jey Uso, for me personally. Also,
If I'm being completely honest when it comes to the Money in the Bank match, I still think that they're going to find a way to put Logan Paul in there and put it on him literally only to bring eyes to the company more.
yeah,
He doesn't
very,
need it, but it being on Logan will bring more and more eyes to the product.
I
But
mean, we've all said it
what a
before.
waste.
We've all said it before. Logan Paul eventually is going to be world champion.
He
Like,
is, but I mean, what a waste of, with what's going on with Cena right now. The only one, you know what? I'll give this to BT to brighten his day. If LA Knight's in that match, the only way I want LA Knight winning that Money in the Bank briefcase is if he's using it to go after Cena. That's the only way I want to see him win that match. But for the love of God, if we're doing Logan Paul versus Jey Uso already at this Saturday night's main event, I do not need to see John Cena versus Logan Paul. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't think anybody wants it. Probably other than Logan. But for the love of God, don't waste the story potential of that briefcase on Logan, who's supposedly a full-timer now, but still only shows up every several handful of weeks when it's time for a PLE build. Don't waste it on him. Please don't put that into the ether.
all right, let's move on, you guys. Let's go on to the next match. Lyra versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Lyra retained like I was hoping. God, man, I was so relieved when Lyra finally beat Becky Lynch after a long, long match that I thought would never end. But Lyra, she really stood out in this match. She was a superior athlete, not just physically, but in the ring, man. That girl can move, and I'm really glad that she retained. Because if Becky Lynch won this thing, I would have been heated. I would have been big mad, y'all. Toxic, you're up, dude. What did you think about this match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship?
When we did our predictions, I said that I didn't care for this match and it would most likely be the bathroom break match. But I actually watched it and I kind of take back what I said. I kind of enjoyed that match. Um, yeah, Lyra does look like someone threw up in her hair. And Becky, she just looks like she's wearing like I don't know, but it just looks weird. Um, but the match was great. I don't know exactly how Lyra is doing after, because apparently she broke her nose or something. That's what I heard. And the multiple shots towards the arm of hers from Becky might have done something. So I'm not going to be surprised if the Intercontinental Championship, the Women's Intercontinental Championship gets relinquished soon, but I don't think it would. I don't think it was. Part of me think it's gonna get relinquished. Part of me doesn't. But I kind of take back what I said. That it was kind of not the bathroom break match for me, but I still enjoyed it.
All right. So, with this, my question still stands because of the fact that the women's mid card stuff is so out of whack right now. The question still remains. It honestly didn't matter who won, who's next. Because there's literally no one that I can think of. Because they took out the main name. They released that main name in Dakota Kai. And she was the main one that people wanted to hold that women's intercontinental. So with that, without Dakota Kai, who's next? I do not see them putting it on Ivy. Zoe maybe, but we haven't really seen her in a bit though. That's the thing. I mean, yes, she can carry on her own, but the issue here stands that we have seen Zoe Stark with these other two women this entire time, and you just released both of them. Now it's just Zoe. The entirety of Pure Fusion Collective has dropped. Who's next?
Well, I can throw out a couple names really quick. They just got called up to Monday Night Raw. Roxanne, like AR-15 on the comments said, and also Julia.
Both of them are going after the world title right now, though. That's the thing. They're both involved with EO.
They seem to be going for the world title. They also seem to be in a tag team, which they can go after the tag team division, but they're also both singles competitors. I think you can throw them in any division right now.
Ivy.
Ugh.
She's a great wrestler, though.
Yeah,
she's
you just
great.
love
It's
her.
just
But
she's great.
still
It's just you
stuck
want to
with
see
the
what's
Women's
going on.
United States right now.
Wait, two people talking at a time here. Go ahead, Tommy. It's your turn.
Like she's still stuck with the Women's United States right now. She's on the wrong brand for the Intercontinental.
Who is?
Unless I'm thinking of someone else.
Ivy Nile?
Ivy's on Raw, brother.
Yeah, Ivy Nile's on Raw.
Oh, I was thinking of that chick from American Made. Never mind.
Maxine.
It's Ivy.
Yeah, I think you're a little bit confused, but
Yeah, the point still stands here that the mid-card titles are so out of whack that we don't know who's next. We don't know what the line is whatsoever. We don't know who's in the line, who's out of the line. We don't know. These things were just thrown together.
Whoever it is, it's got to be someone credible, because Lyra Valkyrie has successfully defended the IC title a handful of times, I think, and she just came off beating Becky Lynch, who's like for the second time. So whoever it is, it has to be someone believable. But we'll see what happens. BT, what do you think about this?
I enjoyed the match. I think the ending to the match, though, was very sloppy. It was very sloppy. The roll-up pins looked very botched at the end, especially with Lyra holding her nose because she thought she broke it. But to the people who say that this match is better than the Fatal 4-Way, You're out of your fucking mind. How the fuck is this match better than the Fatal 4-Way? How?
I can answer that for you, but I'll let you finish.
Bro,
Bruh.
how? The Fatal 4-Way match was the best way to open up the show. I mean, I get Becky and Lyra put on a hell of a technical match. They did. They put on a hell of a match. And I'll give them respect for that. But it did not top off the Fatal 4-Way. It just didn't. With all the carnage in that Fatal 4-Way and all of the brawls and all of the storytelling that was in it, it did not top. That Becky and Lyra match did not top that Fatal 4-Way match, in my opinion. It just didn't. There is a reason why the Fatal 4-Way match opened that show. And there is no disrespect to Becky and Lyra. This isn't me getting at them because they are women, okay? Before anybody makes that type of fucking comment. I want the women to thrive in the wrestling business, okay? I don't know what it is that Triple H needs to do, but he needs to pull his head out of his fucking ass and get this women's division booked right. Because even Mr. Blood has said this on record millions of fucking times. The way that the women have been booked is fucking atrocious. Maybe if you book the women's division better, maybe I'd fucking care. Maybe we'd fucking care. That is my number one plea. But hey, they may not listen to me. I always pray to the wrestling gods and I never get what I fucking want anyways, so. But, yeah, I liked the match. I just thought the roll-up pins at the end were a bit sloppy. But, yeah, I'm excited to see what's next for Lyra.
So I can kind of answer the question for you as to why people think that Becky Lyra 2 was better than the Fatal 4-Way. And I said this last night on the Raw review. There's different ways to look at a match. The Fatal 4-Way match was not, and hear me here, understand the difference. The Fatal 4-Way match was not the better wrestled match. It was a spectacle match. It's a showcase style match. It's a spot match. Becky Lyra was an actual full-on wrestled match. There's the difference. If you talk about the Fatal 4-Way, it's better because it was more entertaining. It had more of a spectacle. There was more energy, more God who could win, more holding your breath, more edge of your seat in that of a spectacle.
No rules.
Lyra Becky 2 is a pure, technically wrestled match. Real, actual psychology. Okay? So if you're looking for like someone like me, who, like we said last night, is a sucker and a diehard for technical psychology or psychological wrestling. That is my bread and butter. I love it. I wrestled as a technical wrestler. So when I see it, I'm like, ooh, butter my popcorn. Let's see the psychology at play here. So for me, I loved Becky Lyra 2 more than the Fatal 4-Way because it was what I was looking for in a one-on-one match. But if I'm talking about a multi-man scenario, Fatal 4-Way, just take my money. That's what I want to see. They gave it to us. What a hell of an opener, period. Point blank, kiss my ass. Point blank. It was a great match. Can't take it away from those guys. I mean, awesome. But Becky and Lyra, I feel like we all owe them an apology because we all were shitting on this. Though the story was awful, I'm happy to say, and by the way, Toxic already apologized for it. I was watching it after I got home from Universal Studios with Jonathan and my wife and Christina. And I literally remember watching it. It's like 11:30 at night. I got thank God. I was like, oh God, how long is the show going to be? 2.5 hours. Oh, yay. And I was like, okay, let's see this. And in the middle of watching it, halfway through, I literally thought, man, and Toxic said this shit was a piss break match. I wonder what his thoughts are going to be. Like, that was literally what I thought. As far as the roll ups, I'm giving them some slack because I thought that they did like 2 roll up counters too many. I'll give you that. But as far as sloppiness, I give them a break because I didn't feel like it was too sloppy. I felt like, oh shit, I think she broke her nose. Because I noticed she was catering that nose before the roll-up sequence started. And I was like, oh shit, why does the top of her nose look a little crooked? And I was like, oh, she probably can't see. I don't know if anybody ever broke your nose, but it's hyper disorienting. Your eyes water, you can't see, and it's incredibly difficult to breathe. So, because right up here, you have capillaries, you have blood vessels right here. And when your nose breaks, it smacks into them. And it just makes your eyes swell. And you're doing this the whole time. So with her, I give props to her that she was able to keep countering sequences, though she probably was as uncomfortable as she could have possibly been trying to make sure nothing brushed into her nose during the exchanges. Because even if she communicates to Becky, they're doing like O'Connor rolls, Charlotte's webs, they're doing over-under pins, they're doing jackknife pins. At some point, Becky's leg or something could sweep across her face. So she's trying to protect herself. So I'll give them that. I thought the match was better than I thought it had any right to be. And even though I know these girls can go. But I give it to Tommy because we all said this. We all agreed on this. Who is next? Because you've got to assume Bayley is coming back after Becky. That takes them out of the Intercontinental Championship picture unless they're going to smack us all in the face and make this shit a triple threat. And if that happens, okay, you're literally just giving me the same story because all I can see when I look at that division is go, man, you don't have any idea where to put these girls, do you? Okay? You're just throwing tag teams together. You're throwing people in stables and groups. Ivy's right there. Okay? Zoe Stark, freshly back on the single scene right there. You've got Roxanne, brand new up there. She's too new, but hey, she's fresh. Same thing with Julia. I think the women's division sorely needs, drum roll please, a draft. Let's shake up the fucking divisions. Get some fresh faces in these separate divisions so we can have fresh matchups. We've been having the same matchups, crossovers, switch-ups for a year. The difference is now that these titles were introduced after the last brand draft, now we're going to get to see people going for these 2 titles that have never actually gotten to go for them ever before because they were introduced after the draft last year. So we're really going to get some actual cool, real, fresh matchups out of a draft. And I think that's what this women's division sorely needs because these women deserve more. And I think we can all agree on that. They're doing the best with what they can. But as far as this match is concerned, I am so happy to say I was wrong about this, and I will admit that wholeheartedly. I loved it. Period, point blank, done. Toxic.
I think. Hold on a second. I think now that you mentioned up the drafts, there was a report from Dave Meltzer's thing, and I know they're not usually right, but when it comes to some things, they usually get these things right. They're reporting that the draft might happen pretty soon. I think they said like next month or something like that. The draft is supposed to happen. So I mean, I think that makes sense. I'm actually not against the draft anymore, especially how the fucking this mid card women's title scene is looking right now. So yeah, I think a draft wouldn't be such a bad idea. But go ahead, Toxic.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that, but I think it was like around the end of this month. I think that's when they did that. I don't know.
All right. Let's move on here. Dominic Mysterio versus Penta for the men's Intercontinental Championship. Dominic Mysterio retained with the help from the greatest luchador of all time. El Grande Americano showed up, headbutted Penta right on the kisser with his metal forehead. But before that, I don't want people to think, if you guys didn't watch it, that Dominic Mysterio, he won because he had help. Yes, he had help. Yes, the Judgment Day was up there. Yes, El Grande Americano interfered. However, for the better part, when this match got started, Dominic Mysterio went out there by himself. He stood toe-to-toe with Penta, and they had a great competitive match. Dominic Mysterio did not look like the usual job guy that always gets beat up, the chicken shit heel, the weakling. Dominic Mysterio looked like an actual champion defending his title there versus Penta. So I got to give Dom credit, even though the finish was it wasn't a clean finish, but Dominic Mysterio won. He's still the Intercontinental title. A lot of people were expecting Penta to win it, but that did not happen. Tommy, what did you learn from this match, or what stood out to you about this?
I said it once, I said it a million times. That's fucking Chad Gable. Shut the fuck up. But I will say this though. I will give Dom credit here. He did come out on his own. He did give Penta a run for his money. But when the rest of the Judgment Day came out, I honestly think that this storyline involving the Intercontinental, especially with Finn, yeah. Because Dom said it on Raw. But this happened here. They come out, Finn grabs a chair and hesitates. He was too slow with it. Because what he really wanted to do is he wanted to take out Dom. That's what he wanted to do. But obviously with this, he couldn't do that. So the rest of the Judgment Day was taken out. And I will say there was a couple times in this match where I thought, oh, Dom might actually lose it. Are they really going to make this reign this short? And then masked Chad Gable comes out with that classic metal in the mask headbutt of his. That's when I knew for sure that, that this is how it ends. Of course, it ends in an interference. Because, of course, you can't have a Judgment Day match without interference. It's the same thing with the Bloodline, unfortunately. None of them can really win on their own. But, as I've already stated, Dom definitely gave Penta a run for his money. He truly did. And I'm pretty sure that surprised all of us a little bit.
This fucking match. Holy shit. Dominic Mysterio, shout out to him for the technical abilities that he fucking put on display that night. I gotta fucking give credit to him for that. A dive into a DDT. Dives from the middle rope into a DDT. Bruh. That's crazy. That is crazy. I swear to God, you're gonna make fun of me for that every time. But yeah, it's definitely a strong showing for Dominic Mysterio, which I really liked. I love how hesitant Finn Balor was, because he could have at least punched Penta in the face. But instead he said, hold on. Let me grab a chair. Make this sting a little bit. And then the referee turns around and he's like, oh, fuck balls. God damn it. Like, bruh, that was your only demise. That was your one demise. You stupid son of a bitch. All you had to do was punch him. That's all you had to do. But El Grande Americano, aka Chad Gable, you cannot convince me otherwise. Or Jason Jordan. I will go for either one of them. I think I could go Jason Jordan. Bugger it. Anyway, El Grande Americano comes by and costs Penta. And I was very let me just say confused as to why it was El Grande Americano who helped Dominic win the match. I was very confused. I'm like, why him of all people? Like, they could have chosen anybody else, but they chose him?
He hates Penta right now.
True. But anyway, yeah, I thought it was a really good, strong showing for Dominic Mysterio. He's not the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. He's not the greatest Mysterio of all time, but he is definitely a respectable champion in my book. I will definitely give him that. His ego just needs to be in check. But yeah, really good showing from both superstars. It was a fun match. I enjoyed it.
So I think possibly Snug and I are going to be the only ones here who aren't surprised at all. I mean, we've been praising the hell out of Dominic's ability forever. I've said myself many times, Dom is insanely good. He's a workhorse. He just does the booking that they give him. But you look at Dom from when he started tagging with Ray to now. He trimmed all the fat. He gained all the ability. Remember at one point, I think it was 2023, he wrestled the most matches out of anybody in the company. Between televised and house show and live events, he wrestled the most that entire year out of the entire company for the men's division. And remember, Rhea was even on Logan Paul's podcast and straight up said he wrestled while he was injured all the time and never complained about it. He couldn't feel his arm for 2 weeks and kept wrestling. So when I look at Dom, people say, oh, he's the worst Mysterio. People forget, look, there's actual Rey Mysterio. Then there's Rey Mysterio Jr., because you guys might not be old enough to know that, but Rey Mysterio Jr. is Dominic's father. Rey Mysterio on the roster today is not the first Rey Mysterio, he's the second. So a lot of people don't remember that or know that. But I think Dominic has the potential to not only be better than Rey, I think he genuinely has the potential to be the best Mysterio, period. Because when you think about it, one thing that this match showed everybody who hasn't been paying attention, I hope you see it now, his crowd work is insane. He knows how to pause and let the moment simmer. He knows how to sell and stay down long enough. The Undertaker sings hallelujah. He's great in ring. You look at him 4 years ago, you look at him now. I see a completely different man in that ring than I did 4 years ago. He is genuinely coming to his own as a performer. He doesn't ever need to put on a mask. A lot of people always thought that Rey's retirement match should be him passing along the mantle of Rey Mysterio in the mask to his son. No, I think Dominic needs to stand on his own forever. And here's the thing about this match. Penta, workhorse. Of all the people to have Dom have his first title defense against, insanely, incredibly intelligent choice. Aside from the fact that when I also said that the first match that Penta had was against Chad Gable, was also the smartest choice you could have made for a debut match for Penta. Same thing goes here. First ever debut title defense for Dom against Penta. What a smart move on Triple H's part. great match, insanely well worked. They let Dom actually show that he can carry a match, because if you rewatch the match, Dom's the spot caller. He's calling the match. He's 100% the one in charge of calling the match the entire time. And I'm like, good on you, dude. You got your reps in, he was great, insanely talented here. I also would like to point out, by this point in the show, every single match got This Is Awesome chance up to this point. Every match. This St. Louis crowd was great. Great all night. And this match, everything that these guys did, they popped for. The interference, or as Wrestle Talk likes to say, Finterference, because it's always Finn coming out, I thought was well done. It showed the hesitancy that Finn is like, do I even really want to help you? You're just the little runt. I'm literally the veteran here in our group. Me and JD are the veterans here, and I taught JD.
Carlito.
Carlito too, but Finn's been wrestling longer than Carlito. He's older than Carlito. So it's like, when you look, Finn's like 45, 46 years old. I think Carlito's got to be 43, 44. But Finn's been wrestling since he was a teenager. So when I look at this, I go, okay, we're starting to get the cracks. The only gripe I have is that they didn't do what I was hoping they would do. And I know that comes down to the internet wrestling community bullshit.
Carlito's 46.
I thought that they missed an opportunity here. I thought they really missed an opportunity here to have Finn turn on Dom that night. I thought it's perfect. Liv is away. Finn can finally cut the rugs out from under her, pull the legs out, get one over, screw Dom over. Penta gets the title, goes over. And then you set up the full destruction dissension between Dom and Finn, because Liv's not there to undermine Finn. I thought this was the night. It was perfect, because she's gone. And now they've mentioned on Raw that she'll be back sooner than we think. So I thought this was kind of a missed opportunity for that. That being said, to this point, every match so far, top marks. But this one, man, what a great way to showcase your Intercontinental Champion.
The match was great. Probably the best. Probably the second or the first best singles match of the night. Singles match. First or second best for me. Dom, amazing first title defense. Fuck you, blood. Penta, you've gone after the Intercontinental Championship multiple fucking times, but you can't get the job done. Why? I don't know. Anyways, the match was amazing until stupid ass Chad Gable. I just hated the finish. I hated the finish of the match. The only way I feel like they could have revived it, and I said this as I saw Gable coming out and like headbutting Penta, is, oh my god, what if they all jump Penta and then we hear Ray Phoenix comes out, but then I'm like, oh wait, no, he's doing the stuff with the Garzas right now, so it wouldn't make sense. But yeah, shit finish to an absolutely good match.
All right, y'all, let's move on to one of my favorite matches of this whole entire night. And I'm not just saying that because it's Gunther, okay? Gunther versus Pat McAfee. This match at Backlash, a lot of people were hating on this match. A lot of people were saying, like, oh, how, Gunther was over there facing a commentator, and Pat McAfee, he's just taking spots from people that have been working there for years, that deserve, to have that spot on the card. And, just this match was horrible and, just the worst. And this right here is a perfect example of what real old school wrestling is, in my opinion. Okay. This was the perfect angle that you would see, like, back in the day. So a lot of wrestling fans today, they're used to seeing, crazy spots, high flying, and all these moves all over. But this right here, this is classic wrestling. Okay, this is like the baby face. The people want the baby face Pat McAfee, who they care, who they love, who is super over, to beat Gunther, even though a lot of people knew that Pat McAfee wasn't going to be able to, but there was still like, when Michael Cole got involved, the people were going crazy for it, and there was urgency, and they were like, the people care, they got into it, and that's what wrestling is basically. You want to see the babyface beat the heel, and that's basically what we got here. Is Pat McAfee fucking Ric Flair in the ring or Shawn Michaels? No, he's not. But you still care for the babyface. You wanted to see Pat McAfee beat Gunther, and man, the fucking people were they're throwing their hands in the air. Oh my god, there was so much drama. It was exciting. This is wrestling, you guys, and for the people that were hating on it, they just probably did not see any like old school classic wrestling, because this was it. But who's up on this one? I believe it's BT. Go ahead, BT.
I wasn't able to witness the Puerto Rican crowd live for Backlash 2023. I wasn't able to witness the French crowd in 2024 live for Backlash. But I was able to witness the crowd in 2025 at St. Louis live for Backlash. When I tell you I had chills in my veins before the Gunther versus Pat match, I cannot describe to you how good that felt.
God damn it, he
Dip.
got frozen. Fuck, we were doing so good. I'm gonna have to edit this shit out now. God damn it.
BT, if you can hear us.
Fucking match.
BT, can you hear us? BT, go out and come back in if you can hear us.
Yo, B.
There he is. Hold on, give him a sec.
We were doing so damn well. We actually thought that we could go an entire podcast without this shit happening.
Hell, even my audio's good.
Yeah.
No, it's
like,
not.
Even your audio isn't being all
Yeah, it was
choppy.
shit one time, blood.
Yeah. Start over.
Bruh.
We heard you from when you said this crowd in St. Louis.
Right. St. Louis, Backlash 2025. Right. I got to witness that moment live. Right. Classic babyface versus heel type of match. Fuck me, I was in a fucking groove and then I had to get kicked down and fucking glitched. I swear to God. Anyway, seeing Michael Cole and Pat McAfee be involved in a story that actually makes sense and actually is entertaining for somebody like me is such a privilege and such an honor to see. And it's so good to see that for somebody like them, you know? Because I know about the whole Michael Cole thing and how he was booked back then as this irritating commentator, this irritating heel commentator who had to say everything that Vince was shouting in his ear and you know, for years, I was thinking, why did people hate Michael Cole so much? Because when I listen to him nowadays, he's analytical, he breaks things deeply. He's sometimes very biased, but that's what makes him entertaining. You know what I mean? But yeah, after I learned about that stuff, I was like, justice for Michael Cole, because he deserved it so much better than what he got, you know? But then I got to see this match, and it got me emotional a bit, because when he went on the Logan Paul podcast, the Impulsive podcast, and he was talking about, I'm pretty sure he was talking about some of the stuff that he went through in 2011 and some of the shit that Vince had to force him to say and things like that. And then watching this match in particular, it just warms my heart a bit, you know. Yes, Pat McAfee should have gotten a bit more time to really showcase how good he is in that ring, because motherfuckers forget he can fucking go in that ring. He can go in that ring. But I understand it's for story purposes. I understand that Pat's goal was to put Pat's goal was to put Gunther over, right? As this monster, right? I just wish Pat had have been able to get more time to really showcase what he's able to do in that ring. That's the only criticism that I have for it. Michael Cole interrupting, fucking perfect. Him trying to get Pat to win the match, holding his feet down near the ropes. I actually thought he would have won that match that way. Then Gunther kicked out. I was shocked. And then Pat put the sleeper on him. I'm like, no way. No way he's going to tap out to Pat now. Ain't no fucking way. And then Gunther with the meanest clothesline, landing Pat McAfee on the top of his fucking head. Jesus Christ. I thought his neck snapped. I was concerned. I'm like, I was shouting in my JR voice, somebody get the damn ER on the phone stat. I was concerned. I was so concerned. I was like, stop the damn match. Bro. But yeah, overall, those were my only criticisms for this whole thing. For a fan like me, I enjoyed this match. Yeah, fuck, why am I getting emotional now? I enjoyed this match. Much respect to Pat and Gunther for putting on one of those old school classic matches. Sorry that it took a while. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
Okay, so for someone like me who was in high school and going through high school when I had to live through the Michael Cole super heel era, it wasn't just bad. It was go away heat. Like, people didn't, that there were people who genuinely stopped watching Raw because they had to listen to Michael Cole the entire 3-hour show. Because back then, a lot of people forget, this is back when they fused Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, but still had SmackDown, and they used to call Raw the Raw Super Show. And it was Monday Night Raw, and in blue underneath it for SmackDown was Super Show. And SmackDown stars crossed over onto Raw regularly every week in feuds but also appeared on SmackDown itself later that Friday. And this was the era where we had Jerry Lawler as the babyface commentator and Michael Cole as the super heel commentator, to the point where they were in a match because of this Mania. Probably the worst WrestleMania match in history culminated in this. And Michael Cole has gotten hate ever since then. They put Michael Cole in commentary behind a plexi fucking glass box so people couldn't get to him. He was always just riding the Miz's meat, and he was always just up Jack Swagger's ass with praise constantly. He even had Jack Swagger train him to face Jerry Lawler at Mania. It was go away, get off my TV heat. Like, the worst part about Raw was having to listen to Michael Cole. Now, we know this was all Vince in his ear. So I agree that when you fast forward to now, and even within the last, 7, 8 years, Michael has really become this kind of really appreciated commentator. And the one thing I love about Pat was his ability to constantly put Michael Cole over, this veteran in the game, longest running ever professional wrestling commentator of all time for a single company. He holds the record. I think it's like 28 years now. And in 28 years, Michael Cole has only ever missed TV 3 times. I've called out of work because I had a video game that I got the night before that I was going to play. This man has not missed work more than 3 times in 28 years. This match was great, and we all said that we wanted Michael Cole to get involved in this match because it made sense. We all thought that, I had it a bit more booked in my head, like, okay, well, he'll attack Michael in the ring, it'll be vicious, more vicious, and he did try to attack Michael. And then here comes Pat for the save. I was surprised that based on the reactions in this match that Pat was getting, I genuinely was surprised. This is the only match of the night, the only match in the entire card that did not get This Is Awesome chance. The only match. And I was like, wow. I thought they should have given Pat a bit more offense. I really did. I was surprised we didn't get to see that super suplex, the jump up suplex from the top rope. I really thought we were going to get that. Like, Gunther would go up for his big body splash. Pat would get up and meet him up there and flip him. I thought that was going to be the massive pop moment. And I feel like had we got that one spot, it would have gotten This Is Awesome chance. But I love that Pat was selling his ass off for Gunther, as he should. I definitely love, and I said it, I was correct. The match had to end with a tap out. I said it needed to end with Gunther putting Pat to sleep. It had to end with a submission so he could get back that submission that he lost to Jay. I said that needed to be the finish. But I also love that Gunther, at the end, kind of gave Pat his flowers and showed him a sign of respect. I thought he was going to shake his hand, but he basically said, I tip my hat to you. All in all, I think it was perfect storytelling. I think it's great. For a short, like 2-3 week feud, I think it did what it needed to do. It definitely got Pat and Michael even more over, and they were already over as a commentary duo. But the people who hating on this match, as Snug pointed out, I feel like you guys are the people that just, hang on Corey Graves' every word, right? Bitching and moaning that Pat McAfee, a fucking NFL legend here as a punter, okay? He's won Super Bowl rings, okay? And you're angry that he's a lead commentator because he brings more eyes to the product. He's on ESPN with his own talk show, and Corey Graves is just married to Carmella, and we've been listening to him whine and bitch the way that Michael Cole did back in 2011, and you think that you're what? You think you're different? Corey Graves, and I'm going to say this point blank, Corey Graves is a shit commentator. Let's be real. He's a shit commentator. His only go-to moves are, I'm going to be a heel, and I'm going to pick on my commentator partner. That's it. That's it. That's all he's ever been. Pat, and remember, Corey got sent home because he verbally and publicly bitched that Triple H picked Pat over him because I'm not famous enough. And that's why he got moved to NXT, because he only got asked to do commentary for NXT once, and he took it as a demotion because Pat's more famous. No, Pat's more entertaining, Corey. Pat has heart. Pat is fun. And he makes wrestling fun because when I look at Pat, I see a guy who is a big fan of wrestling like all of us, getting to do what we wish we could, be as close to the action as possible. And he's just a big kid wrestling fan, getting to sit there and talk about wrestling 3 hours a night every Monday. And that's why Pat's great, and this match is great.
Yeah, the match was great. Like everyone else has said, I really wish Pat would have gotten more offense. It would have been absolute nuts to see that jump up suplex or superplex. I don't know what it's called. It's either of the two. But I just hated bits and pieces of the match. But the bits and pieces that I hated made me actually kind of like it. It's like Sammy and that one dude from Jackass at WrestleMania 38. It's like that. It's funny, but the match was kind of shit. It's like that. It was like that. But yeah, Pat showed Gunther to not mess with the commentators unless he knows what he's actually gonna get into, which is tapping Pat out and getting a world title shot. That's exactly what he got. Fuck Gunther.
I will say this. I will gladly, right now with this match, give Pat McAfee his flowers. For the people saying that he's just a commentator, he proved he's not, that he can still keep up with the big boys. He truly can. It may have been a slow match, but he still was able to keep up. And I absolutely love that. But I just feel bad for Pat as well, because he posted a picture directly after the match. His chest, man, it was beat up beyond recognition. It was bad. Like, I saw that picture of him, and I'm just like, damn, you truly don't realize how powerful Gunther's chops are until you see a picture directly after a match and see the aftermath of these chops. Because holy crap, like, damn.
I'd like to point out that Gunther was holding those chops back too. If you go back and watch, he was holding back on Pat because Pat's not an actual wrestler. Go back and watch. He pulled those chops.
Yeah, he was definitely holding back, but Pat McAfee's chest was still severely red. Like, it was bad. But I will say this, and I don't think anybody else has said it. I was out for a second, so I didn't hear the ending of Blood into Toxics. But he truly did give Gunther a run for his money. It's like, people don't understand how good Pat McAfee actually is. He's not just a commentator. He's not just a football guy or a baseball guy. He's truly not. He can still hang there. He can still hang around for sure. This was still one of the most predictable matches for sure, because we all knew Gunther wasn't losing. And like, he truly wasn't. There was no possible way that he was losing in this match. There just wasn't. But hell, I even said that he'd go out in a stretcher. Yes, Pat McAfee did go out cold. It wasn't even a tap out. It was a knockout, practically, is what happened. It was a pass out. It wasn't even a tap out. But with this, I will say that we all knew it had to end that way. It truly did. The main goal was to put Gunther over. That is exactly what happened. Even though Pat McAfee hasn't wrestled in quite some time, he still gave Gunther a run for his money. And there is no taking that from him. There's just truly not.
Well, speaking of predictable matches, I think the main event was also pretty predictable only because we kind of already knew that John Cena was going to retain, even though there's a little part of me that was hoping that Randy Orton was going to win because it's his hometown, because it's Randy Orton, because this is their final match. But I really didn't have a whole lot of high expectations for the main event, you guys, because we've seen these guys wrestle countless times. We saw how the main event went. It wasn't really like a fucking crazy ass match. Like, these two guys are veterans. We knew it was going to be a different style match, not the usual modern day stuff that most wrestling fans are used to seeing. Let's call it how it is. We all expected a slower pace match. And I was actually pretty surprised about the type of match that we got. The main event between John Cena and Randy Orton for the Undisputed Championship, it was exciting. There was drama. There was, referees were being taken out. There was false finishes. These guys, I was really impressed by the main event at Backlash, you guys. Finally, John Cena was able to get the win. He retained. And man, what's we were talking about earlier, what's next? What's next? What's next for John Cena? What's next for Randy Orton? But overall, I was really happy with this main event, you guys. But what did you think about this, Blood?
So I was the person who kind of went on a polite rant about this because I said I'd been watching John Cena and Randy Orton versus each other for well over 20 years. And I have. I've seen every single match ever televised that these guys have ever had on pay-per-view or on regular free TV. I've even seen about 15 to 20 different house match footages of them too. So I have literally seen these guys wrestle hundreds of times. Hundreds. I'm not even exaggerating. And when I sit there and think, well, what's the match going to be? Right? This is John's first title defense, but Randy and him are both pushing 50. It's got to be a slower paced match. I have got to eat a little bit of crow here because these guys worked a faster match than I thought they were going to. That being said, by the 20-minute mark, John had not done anything different than 4 moves. He did the same repeated movements, but in the same 4 moves. We're talking punches, the comeback, attitude adjustment, 5-knuckle shuffle. Like, we were at the 20-minute mark. He had not pulled out a single different maneuver that he had started doing on his last run. No sunset flip powerbomb, no springboard stunner, no hurricane ranas, no power bomb, stuff that he had started adding to his repertoire just at the end of his full-time career, where he had fleshed out his movements. Randy, again, punch, gut kick, eye rake, 10-count punches. When he went to 20, like RKO, backbreaker, hangman DDT, the same thing we see over and over again. They hit way more finishers in this match than I thought they were going to hit, that's for sure. I don't even know how many attitude adjustments got nailed, like 4. And I think it was like, aside from Randy exploding on security and producers, I think he RKO'd John like 3 or 4 times. He didn't get a punt kick. I love that ever since December, we've been teasing that punt kick, and we have still yet to see a punt kick. Like, come on, either hit it or stop setting it up like you're going to hit it. Please Stop teasing me. But that being said, I think this was definitely one of their better bouts against each other. Is it the best match these two have had against each other? No. I think the best match these two have ever had against each other was the I Quit match. The one where he hangs John from the turnbuckle post and he tries to wake John up because John's passing out. He squirts water in his face. Don't you pass out on me, John. And John spits the water back in his face, and Randy just and goes and gets the kendo sticks and starts whipping John, in JR's words, like a government mule until he is just bruised. That's their best match. This was serviceable. However, I would be remiss if I were to say that for their final ever match, I was a little underwhelmed. And I'm kind of disappointed that this is their final ever match. I would have hoped this would have been the balls to the walls, pull out every single thing they could ever pull out on each other. The ref fucking, let's get it. We got a table. That was great. But like this could, in my opinion, their final match should have been like a no DQ match or a Falls Count Anywhere match. Like, take it all over the arena. Make it the biggest spectacle you could possibly. It's the last time they'll ever face each other, unless they lie to us. Remember that whole once in a lifetime? And it was twice in a lifetime? As far as I'm concerned, if this is their last ever match, it left, in my opinion, a bit to be desired. It was fun. Right guy won. R-Truth popped in. And that was an interesting thing because it plays into when John ran into R-Truth backstage. I think it was last week. And when he was walking out, he just kind of looked at him, and R-Truth was like, John, if I can ever do anything for you, you're my hero. I'll do whatever I can for you. Just name the time. Wherever you need me, I'll be there. And then all of a sudden, here's R-Truth in the finish. And you're like, and John took R-Truth's innocence, even though he's like fucking 7 years older than John. And black don't crack, my friends. And he literally used, I think the story is going to be that he manipulated R-Truth's fandom into serving his purpose, because you won't boo R-Truth for helping a heel if R-Truth doesn't realize that he's helping a heel. You know what I mean? So I thought it was fun. Great way to end the match. Great way to end the show. It got This Is Awesome chance. It just wasn't. When you tout it's the best, it's the ending of an era, their last ever match. To me, end of an era is Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Triple H, Hell in a Cell. Never going to ever face each other ever again. That was the way to end that whole story between those three men. Never again after this. Hell in a Cell, 43 minutes. Let's go. But this did its job. Enough said.
I enjoyed the main event a lot, even though it's the same damn shit over again. It was entertaining more than the entire show, other than the Fatal 4-Way and Dama and Penta. The match was great, yes, all that, but we're gonna talk about how Cena AA'd Truth at the post show. Yeah, Truth went in like, I'm so proud of you, John. And then he's like, even if people say you suck and you can't wrestle, John's like, wrong. You say one more thing, and I promise there will be repercussions. Truth goes, but I just wanted to, and then Cena picks him up, AA. So I hope at Saturday night main event we get Truth versus Cena. Yeah. But one more thing, and it's kind of important, but I think they showed this, but after the match, and Cena's done ranting to the crowd again for the millionth time, he's kind of emotional as he's walking backstage. What I think that is he's starting to regret turning heel. Like, no, I hate these people, but what have I become? I don't feel the same as I used to. But they're the ones at fault for this. But wait, no, it's me because it's my own actions. So I feel that John is stuck between, oh, I want to be healed because the people are the one in the wrong. But he's like, no, I want to turn face again because I'm the one in the wrong. Like basically what Punk said on Raw. He's not mad at Seth, which he is. He's not mad at Breaker, which he is. He's mad at himself. Basically, I think that's what John's going through after beating Randy Orton.
Maybe he does regret it, Tox. Or maybe it's the realization of this was the final one. A rivalry that has been around and has been called one of the greatest rivalries of all time. One of, not the, but one of the greatest rivalries of all time. This is the end of it. This is the final one. Maybe just the thought of that. It's the same way when he stopped and just stood there for a second to take it all in at Elimination Chamber. Yes, he was face when he did that. But it's the same type of thing. Where he's just standing there, looking around, getting teary-eyed. Because he knows this is the last one. This is the last time he will face Randy Orton. And Snug, you yourself asked, what's next for Randy? Well, I'm here to answer that question for you. They've still been hinting that punt. He still needs to get his hands on Kevin Owens. He needs to do that punt on Kevin. Illegal move for an illegal move. He still needs to do it. That is what is next for Randy Orton. It's him finally getting his hands on who he should have gotten and would have at Mania. Toxic, no. For those who are just listening, he did the Joe Hendry turn in his damn chair. Because of course he fucking did. But with this match, I will say the realization of it, I understand why he got teary-eyed. Because again, this is the end of an era. One of the greatest rivalries of all time. Just ended right there. We all knew it was going to happen the way it did. Although, one of us really wanted Randy and bet on Randy. B.
Actually, it was me, not B.
Oh, yeah, it was Tox. Never mind.
And I didn't bet on it.
The point still stands. You put it on the books.
Shut up.
But yeah, with this match, I will say this. For what we got and for how old they actually are, it makes sense to have an entire match that is just one massive callback. That's what the entirety of this match was. Even though it had a lot of attitude adjustments to it. It truly did. Randy even pulled out a couple. This match was one giant callback to every time they were in a rivalry in the past. And I absolutely love that. Because it takes what they used to do, their entire history, and ends it right there with a crap ton of callbacks. This was the end game to their era, to their rivalries. This was the end game. And I loved it. Was it a little bit underwhelming, knowing the fact that we all knew this match was coming as soon as this tour was announced? Yes, it was. But for what we got, I personally loved it because it ended all of their rivalries perfectly.
For such beautiful words that Tommy spoke, I'm gonna shit all over them because I slept through this match and didn't actually watch it. I did not watch a single highlight of this match. Actually, the only things I saw from this was R-Truth making his interference and the same ass WrestleMania 41 bullshit ass finish. The RKO, the AA got transferred into an RKO, and then R-Truth getting AA through the press conference table. Those were the only things that I saw. And I'm very glad that I didn't watch this match because I do not connect to the Cena and Randy feud like everybody else does because I wasn't able to live through that sort of moment. And yeah, I just thought it was a good moment to just knock myself out and catch some Z's. Woke up at like freaking midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning the next day, and then saw those highlights. So yeah, got the sleep that I desperately needed, but probably at the wrong time because I slept at like 11:30 in the morning. But
Australian
yeah,
time.
yeah, I didn't watch the match, and I'm kind of glad that I did because it looked like a fucking finisher fest.
So this was your piss break match.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I would like to highlight, I did say that I thought that this would be the least anticipated match. Remember, I said that I thought that Lyra versus Becky would be more anticipated than this. Remember that I said that because I said I've seen this match so many times in every conceivable way they could have ever done it that Lyra v. Becky was more tantalizing to think about the possibility. And I'm going to say a real hot take here that many of you are not going to agree with, and you can kiss my ass. Becky v. Lyra 2 was a better match than this. It was a better one-on-one match than this because it was an actual wrestle match, not a 50-50 spot fest that was basically coasting on nostalgia and a one last time tagline. If you really strip away the over presentation of this will be the last time we ever face, the world championship is involved. It's John Cena's farewell tour. It's Randy's hometown. You strip all that away, this is probably the most boring match on the card. True shit. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Because even Gunther versus Pat, though it wasn't a spot fest, there was more emotion in that match than there was in this one.
Snug can say that you're wrong, but overall you're not.
I know I'm not.
You
just
are.
hates Becky.
You most definitely are.
Hates Becky.
You most definitely
Yeah, I
are.
agree with Snug. I agree with Snug. Blood, you're wrong.
You're most definitely wrong. And I hate to say that because that's your opinion, but I'm gonna say it. You're wrong, Blood, because and I'm gonna make this quick because we gotta get out of here. The Fatal 4-Way was the worst match of the night. Let me tell you why. You can't have a safe wrestling match. And I love Jacob Fatu. I love Drew. I love all those guys in the match. But you can't have a safe working wrestling match with 4 guys in the ring at the same time, no matter how good they are, no matter who it is, without making it look obviously fake and choreographed the way that the Fatal 4-Way match was. Like you said, Blood, this was a spot match because there's so many people in the ring. This is why I don't really like these multi-person matches, and we've seen them countless of times. That's why I liked Lyra versus Becky better than the Fatal 4-Way. I'm glad Jacob Fatu won. I'm glad we got Jeff Cobb. But I'm not going to sit here and say Randy Orton versus John fucking Cena was the worst match compared to Becky Lynch versus Lyra. I'm sorry, but I will never agree to that. Never.
Is that because you don't like Becky, or are you thinking about this as someone who understands wrestling psychology? If you're talking about the better worked match, the better wrestled match, it's Lyra and Becky. Because between Randy and John, they did a total of 7 moves in a half hour.
But is that really a question?
No, I'm talking about, look, I know how to separate the person from the art. I know when to admit if something is good, even if I don't like the person. We're talking about John Cena and Randy Orton, 2 of the greatest to ever do it. Just one person combined in Randy or John Cena probably has more years of experience with Becky and Lyra if you put them together.
That's true. But
I mean, what are we talking about here?
If you think of Randy Orton's and John's history, this is probably not even cracking the top 10 of their best matches. And I've watched every match they've ever had.
Okay.
Live.
Here's my question for you. If you have the shocking opinion that this Fatal 4-Way was the worst match of the night, what do you think was the best match of the night?
That is a good question.
The thing is, though, the Fatal, because again, it comes back to what I said. There's a difference in matches here. One is a spectacle, one is a ring psychology match. John Cena versus Randy Orton was both. It was spectacle because of what it was, mixed with an actual psychology worked match. There was psychology. There was heel tactics. There was reversals. There was one-upsmanship. There was thieving of the moves. There was psychology in there with the spectacle of it being the main event, the last time they'll ever do it, the titles on the line, Randy's hometown. If we look at it pragmatically, the actual worst match on the show, though it has a lot of emotion behind it, the worst match on the show, and not because it's bad, but from a work rate level and an overarching performance level, it's Pat versus Gunther. But if you're talking best worked in-ring match of the night, that's Lyra v. Becky. If you're talking about the best spectacle on the show, that's the Fatal 4-Way. If you're talking about the biggest match on the card, that's Randy v. Cena. So it just depends on how you're categorizing it. Worst doesn't mean bad. Worst is a synonym for least. So it can be what was the least match on the show, what was the highest match on the show. So you're not wrong, Snug, in saying the Fatal 4-Way for you was the worst match, because if you pull it apart, it's a full-blown, hey, we were in here last night and earlier today before the show started, and we choreographed the shit out of this so we could get every sequence correctly and all the timing right. If you're looking at John and Randy, who were just calling it in the ring because that's what they do, because they're so old school, that's the best worked match from a veteran standpoint. But if you're talking technical ability, Liger v. Becky. If you're talking excitement and, oh my God, this is going to be a car wreck, that's Gunther v. Pat. So it just depends. Is your opinion wrong? No, it's your opinion. But at the same time, we have to look at it for what it is. If you strip different things away from all these matches, they have to stand on their own 2 feet for what they are. That's why I said you take out the title, you take out the hometown, John Cena's farewell tour, you take out the fact that they're legends, and you just go John Cena and Randy Orton for half an hour, and they've done a total of 8 moves repeated in half an hour. That's the worst worked match on the card. If you're talking about the Fatal 4-Way, and it's all choreographed, and it looks choreographed, because it did, and I'm going to give that to you, but their timing was correct. You can't even call that a worked match because it was all rehearsed over and over and over again for timing. I don't consider rehearsal matches worked. I consider them prepared. Worked to me is y'all go out there and y'all are fucking on the fly, or you're calling it. You might have 1 or 2 rehearsed spots, but everything else is on instinct. And that's where Becky is a great match. That's where Cena and Orton is still a great match. And by the way, I'd like to note, we barely heard John call any spots 10 volumes high in this match. But all in all, I don't disagree with you on the Fatal 4-Way match. However, it was still a lot of fun.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here, you guys. That was a Backlash review. Let us know on the comments what your favorite match was. Hit us up at Snug Wrestling. What was the worst match of Backlash? What was your favorite? I know we're a little late on the review, but better late than never. Yeah, until next time. Thanks, you guys. Thanks, thanks, Blood. Thanks, I was going to say Snug Crew. Toxic.
Thank yourself.
Tommy, BT. We'll see you guys on Friday for SmackDown. Have a good night, everyone. No yeet. Bye.
4 letters.
1 letter.
1 word.